Panama City is where the first world skyline crashes into the third world chaos, where the glittering skyscrapers overlook the colonial ruins, and where you can watch the massive cargo ships squeeze through the century-old locks before hiking the rainforest, all before lunch. This isn't your typical Latin American capital. This is the city where the Miami skyline collides with the colonial cobblestones, where the billion-dollar banking towers rise next to the slums clinging to the hillsides, and where the Pacific Ocean and the Caribbean Sea are separated by just 80 kilometers of land that changed global trade forever. We're exploring 10 sides of Panama City that prove this is the most underrated capital in the Americas. From the UNESCO Colonial Quarter to the engineering marvel connecting two oceans. From the Biodiversity Museum, designed by Frank Gehry, to the trails where sloths hang above the downtown skyline. Casco Viejo is the UNESCO Colonial Quarter, where the Spanish architecture, the rooftop bars, and the gentrification create the historic heart rebuilt after the pirate Morgan burned the original city in 1671. The neighborhood sits on the peninsula jutting into the Pacific with the cobblestone streets and the colonial buildings in the various states of restoration. The Plaza de la Independencia is where Panama declared the independence from Colombia in 1903. The Metropolitan Cathedral has the twin bell towers visible across the quarter. The rooftop bars, including the Tantalo and the Casa Casco, offer the sunset views over the Pacific and the modern skyline. The gentrification is rapid, with the luxury hotels replacing the crumbling tenements. Visit year-round with the dry season from December to April, offering the less humid conditions. So, have you sipped cocktails on the colonial rooftops, watching the sunset over the Pacific and the skyscrapers? The Panama Canal is the engineering marvel where the locks lift the ships, the century-old construction, and the global trade create the waterway connecting the oceans. The Miraflores locks are the closest to Panama City, offering the visitor center with the observation decks. The locks raise the ships 16.5 meters in the two steps, allowing the passage between the Pacific and the artificial Gatun Lake. The construction from 1904 to 1914 by the United States followed the failed French attempt, killing over 25,000 workers from the disease and the accidents. The canal handles 14,000 ships annually, generating the significant portion of Panama's GDP. The new locks opened in 2016 accommodate the larger Neo-Panamax ships. The museum explains the construction history and the operation. I'll visit year-round with the weekdays, seeing the more ship traffic than the weekends. Have you watched the massive cargo ships rise 16.5 meters through the century-old locks connecting the two oceans? Cinta Costera is the waterfront promenade where the 3.5 kilometers of parks, the skyline views, and the Pacific Ocean create the city's recreational spine. The project, completed in the 3 phases from 2009 to 2014, reclaimed the land from the Pacific, creating the parks, the bike lanes, and the walking paths. The promenade connects the Casco Viejo to the Paitilla neighborhood running along the Bay of Panama. The parks have the exercise equipment, the playgrounds, and the food vendors selling the raspados, shaved ice. The views extend across the bay to the Bridge of the Americas and the modern skyline. The locals use the promenade for the jogging, the cycling, and the family outings, especially on the weekends. The sunsets over the Pacific are spectacular. You can visit year-round, with the early mornings or the late afternoons, avoiding the midday heat and the humidity. Have you jogged the 3.5-kilometer waterfront promenade where the Pacific meets the skyscraper skyline? Amador Causeway is the 6-kilometer causeway connecting the 4 islands where the canal views, the restaurants, and the cycling create the popular escape. The causeway was built using the rock excavated from the canal construction connecting the Neos, Perico, and Flamenco Islands to the mainland. The causeway provides the views of the canal entrance, the Bridge of the Americas, and the ships waiting to transit. The bike rentals allow the riding to the islands. The restaurants at the Flamenco Island include the seafood and the international options. The Smithsonian Tropical Research Institute maintains the facilities on the islands. The causeway is popular on the weekends with the families and the cyclists. The sunsets looking back at the city skyline are impressive. You visit year-round with the breezy conditions, making it more comfortable than the downtown. Have you cycled the 6-kilometer causeway, built from the canal excavation rock, watching the ships enter the Pacific? Biomuseo, designed by Frank Gehry, is the Biodiversity Museum where the colorful canopies, the Panama Isthmus Formation, and the ecological exhibits create the architectural landmark. The museum opened in 2014 as Gary's first Latin American project with the multicolored metal canopies inspired by Panama's biodiversity. The permanent exhibition explains how the Panama Isthmus Formation 3 million years ago connected the Americas, allowing the Great American Biotic Interchange and separating the oceans, changing the global climate. The galleries include the Bridge of Life and the Oceans Divided, showing the biodiversity and the geological history. The building sits on the Amador Causeway with the views over the Pacific. The colorful design contrasts with Panama's typically conservative architecture. The air conditioning provides the relief from the tropical heat. Visit year-round, with the museum open Tuesday to Sunday. Have you explored the Frank Gehry Biodiversity Museum, explaining how the Panama Isthmus changed the planet 3 million years ago? If you're intrigued by Panama City's contrasts from the colonial quarter to the canal engineering, smash that subscribe button because we're halfway through and the most surprising destinations are still coming. Like, comment, and share if Panama City is on your radar. Ancon Hill is the 199-meter hill where the panoramic views, the Panamanian flag, and the wildlife create the natural viewpoint overlooking the city and the canal. The hill sits between the Panama City and the former Canal Zone, offering the 360-degree views over the downtown skyline, the Casco Viejo, the canal, and the Bridge of the Americas. The massive Panamanian flag at the summit is visible across the city, marking the sovereignty over the former U.S. territory. The road winds to the top, allowing the driving or the hiking. The tropical forest on the slopes has the sloths, the iguanas, and the diverse bird life despite the urban location. The views are best in the early morning before the haze builds. The hill was the highest point in the former Canal Zone. Sure, visit year-round with the dry season offering the clearest views and the less muddy hiking conditions. Have you hiked to the 199-meter summit where the massive flag flies over the canal and the city? Metropolitan Natural Park is the 265-hectare tropical forest where the wildlife, the hiking trails, and the downtown proximity create the urban jungle. The park protects the tropical dry forest within the city limits with the 5 trails ranging from the easy to the moderate. The wildlife includes the 2-toed sloths, the white-faced capuchin monkeys, the iguanas, and over 250 bird species. The Mirador Cerro Cedro Trail climbs to the viewpoint overlooking the downtown skyline and the canal, creating the unique perspective of the skyscrapers rising from the jungle. The park receives fewer tourists than the major attractions, maintaining the peaceful atmosphere. The humidity and the heat are intense, requiring the water and the early morning visits. The visitor center has the exhibits on the park's ecology. Visit year-round, with the early mornings offering the better wildlife viewing and the cooler temperatures. Have you spotted the sloths hanging in the trees overlooking the downtown skyscrapers from the urban rainforest? Panama Viejo is the UNESCO archaeological site where the 1519 city ruins, the pirate history, and the museum create the original Panama City. The city, founded in 1519 by the Spanish, was the first European settlement on the Pacific coast of the Americas. The pirate Henry Morgan sacked and burned the city in 1671, after which the Spanish moved to the current Casco Viejo location. The ruins include the cathedral tower, the convent walls, and the stone foundations spread across the site. The museum explains the colonial period and the archaeological discoveries. The site sits in the modern neighborhood with the locals using the grounds for the recreation. The cathedral tower is climbable, offering the views over the ruins and the modern city. The contrast between the 500-year-old ruins and the surrounding development is striking. Visit year-round, with the dry season being more comfortable for the outdoor exploring. Have you climbed the cathedral tower in the 1519 city that the pirate Morgan burned in 1671? Multiplaza Mall is the upscale shopping center where the luxury brands, the air conditioning, and the food court create the modern consumer experience. The mall has the international brands, including the Louis Vuitton, the Tiffany, and the Zara, alongside the regional stores. The food court and the restaurants offer the Panamanian and the international cuisine, with the options ranging from the fast food to the sit-down dining. The cinema shows the Hollywood releases in English with the Spanish subtitles. The mall is popular with the middle and the upper-class Panamanians and the expats. The air conditioning provides the escape from the tropical heat and the humidity. The mall reflects Panama's status as the regional shopping destination with the duty-free advantages. The parking is ample and the security is visible. Visit year-round with the mall operating daily, providing the consistent climate-controlled environment. Have you shopped the luxury brands in the air-conditioned mall that showcases Panama's consumer economy? Punta Paitilla is the residential peninsula where the luxury high-rises, the marinas, and the ocean views create the Miami-style neighborhood. The peninsula juts into the Pacific with the condominiums and the apartment towers housing the wealthy Panamanians and the expats. The neighborhood developed rapidly from the 1970s, becoming the upscale residential area. The Trump Ocean Club, with the distinctive sail-shaped design, dominates the skyline at 284 meters. The marinas along the edges house the yachts and the sport fishing boats. The restaurants and the bars cater to the affluent residents and the visitors. The Ocean Mall and the Soho Mall provide the shopping and the dining. The neighborhood represents Panama's economic growth and the real estate boom. The views extend across the Bay of Panama. Yet visit year-round with the neighborhood being more about the residential experience than the tourist attractions. Have you walked the marina-lined peninsula where the luxury high-rises create the Panama's Miami-style skyline? So there you have it, 10 destinations in Panama City that prove this is the most underrated capital in the Americas, where the colonial cobblestones meet the glass towers, where you can watch the global trade squeeze through the locks before spotting the sloths in the urban rainforest, and where the contrasts are so extreme they shouldn't work but somehow do. From the rooftop bars overlooking the 500-year-old ruins to the engineering marvel that changed the world economy. From the Frank Gehry Biodiversity Museum to the rainforest trails where the wildlife thrives within sight of the skyscrapers, Panama City is the city that defies the simple categories. It's not quite first world, definitely not third world, and absolutely not like anywhere else. The banking towers rise next to the crumbling colonial walls. Yeah, the luxury malls compete with the street vendors, and somehow it all functions in the humid tropical heat. If Panama City intrigued you, smash that subscribe button for more underrated destinations that deserve your attention. Drop a comment telling me which Panama City contrast surprised you most. Are you Team Colonial Casco Viejo, Team Engineering Marvel at the Canal, or Team Urban Rainforest where the sloths overlook the skyline?